We know Caitlin Clark is currently hurt. They are set to face off against the Dallas Wings possibly in the next hour or so. But there is some headlines, man. This time it's in regards to one of her teammates, and that is Natasha Howard. Now, Natasha Howard really ain't been in the news too much, man. She's been balling out. It looked like she's been staying out the way. She don't say too much online either to make the headlines, but one thing I can say, this time she definitely did.
Did Natasha Howard really just go there about Caitlin Clark? Because social media just exploded like someone lit a match in a fireworks factory. WNBA Twitter is in shambles. Reddit's rewriting conspiracy theories, and fans are hurling popcorn like they're courtside at a cage match. Whatever chill Howard had, gone. Evaporated. She's now the epicenter of the latest league meltdown, and it's getting messier by the second. What did she say that triggered the chaos? Why is every comment section a war zone? Buckle up, because this isn't just drama. It's a full-blown reality show with no commercial breaks.
Were you excited to play with Caitlin?
I was.
Yeah. So talk about that. Your first impressions of her.
My first impression of her when I first seen them, like, dang, like, this is what everybody's talking about right here. Yeah. This girl right here. Just getting to know Caitlin more and stuff like that. Like, she reminded me of a little sister. Like just letting her know that you don't have to do everything. Like you have to do in Iowa. Like you have great teammates and phenomenal players around you that could take that weight off your shoulder. You don't have to do everything. Like we expect you to knock down those clutch shots. Like that's what we expect you to do. But like overall, like you don't have to do everything. Like you don't. Like let us give us some of your pressure too. Like so.
When Caitlin Clark got ambushed in broad daylight like the WNBA's twisted spin on Mean Girls meets Royal Rumble, guess who was right there with the best view and did absolutely nothing? Natasha Howard. Prime position. Eyes on the chaos. Response? Crickets. She stood frozen, like someone hit pause, proving once again that silence can be loud.
This current clip right here is going viral. Correlation stated they all got to play better. That's nice to say, but we haven't seen that yet. Depression CCAKG stated Natasha Howard on being Caitlin Clark teammate.
It was like someone dropped the controller mid-boss fight and watched the hero take hit after hit. Caitlin Clark needed backup urgently, and Natasha Howard delivered peak that's above my pay grade energy. And this wasn't a case of being out of range. No, she was front and center, perfect position to step in, throw a body, show some fire. Heck, even fake concern. But nope, just vibes and vacancy, as if leadership came with a snooze button.
The Fever are building a winning culture. Even though you're down, even though you're getting physically beat up, because they were being out physicaled, and you still found a way to win. Natasha Howard balled out, and that's what we need.
But nope. Howard stood frozen like she was watching her favorite drama unfold exactly as planned. She clocked every second, absorbed the chaos, and responded with a stare so expressionless it could have been used in a museum exhibit on emotional neutrality. You'd think she was auditioning for a statue.
For a lot of America, Caitlin Clark is the hero, and everyone that flagrantly fouls her, speaks poorly of her, acts like she's not great is the villain, and then vice versa. How big of a part of the story is that when you look at the conflict surrounding Caitlin Clark?
You would have thought that the arrival of this superstar in the WNBA would have been seen as what it is, which is the greatest thing to ever happen to the WNBA. So she arrives, and of course, my thought, a white woman from Iowa in a 74% black league. That's an issue. And I look at the way players like Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, Cheryl Swoops with her flurry of falsehoods, Cheryl Reeve, the Olympic coach, Gina Auriemma, really tried to minimize her.
If you want Caitlin Clark come back from injury, please leave a like and subscribe our channel and type CC come back in comments. Blow. And let's be real, this wasn't just a passive moment. This was a loud silence, the kind of silence that screams volumes, like, oops, did my envy just show? Because this wasn't just about letting a teammate get jumped. This was about showing just how uninterested Natasha is in protecting the golden goose. or even faking the sisterhood badge that so many pretend to wear. It's not just about that moment, either. This has been simmering longer than a crock-pot full of petty. Every game, every possession, it's painfully obvious Natasha Howard has absolutely no intention of feeding Caitlin Clark the ball. 0. Nada. You could offer her a bonus check, a Netflix docuseries, and a new sneaker line, and she still wouldn't make that pass. You'd get better cooperation out of Airport Wi-Fi. She'll scan the floor like she's doing a Sudoku puzzle, look directly at Caitlin, open, waving, ready, and then pivot so fast you'd think she saw a ghost. Ball goes anywhere but to the sharpshooter. It's become a pattern, not an accident, not a misread, but a full-blown mission. Operation Do Not Assist Caitlin Clark. Even Stevie Wonder could see it at this point. And the wild part? Natasha will still do the post-game routine like everything's peachy. Pat on the back, maybe a forced smile, but don't be fooled. That's the same energy a cat gives before it swats a glass off the table. Passive-aggressive professionalism wrapped in jersey fabric. If Envy had a stat line, Natasha would be averaging a triple-double.
And now she's saying that she has Caitlin's back. Well, you could have fooled me. And the reason I'm saying that is not because you're not helping her out with advice, you're not being there for practice, you're not giving her nuggets from your, I don't know how long you've been league, 14, 15-year league career. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about brass tacks, when the rubber meets the road. When Caitlin getting her head bashed in during the season, I need you to put somebody on the ground. I need you to flagrant foul somebody. I need you to get in somebody's face.
Now, let's not pretend like we don't know what's really going on here. Caitlin Clark comes in with the fame, the fanfare, and the freakish numbers, and suddenly, everyone on her team starts acting like she just stole their childhood dreams and a few endorsement deals. Natasha Howard included, because if you were hoping to see some grown woman teamwork, some rise-above-it unity, some seasoned vet wisdom, well, you've clearly stumbled into the wrong locker room. Natasha's energy isn't just, I don't pass to her, it's, I'd rather shoot a contested fadeaway into a triple team than give Caitlin an open look from the arc. And what makes it hilarious is how obvious it is. You can't even call it subtle sabotage. It's practically choreographed. You'd swear she rehearses it in practice. Dribble, fake look at Caitlin, ignore, toss it into a teammate's shin, repeat. And let's go back to that brawl. Or hard foul with attitude if we're being PR friendly. Natasha's reaction wasn't just indifference, it was layered, calculated, almost gleeful in its restraint, like someone watching karma unfold in real time. You could practically hear the internal monologue. Oh no, she got shoved. That's so unfortunate. Anyway,
this might be Caitlin Clark's second year, but like the moves they make, the players they brought in reflect a desire to win now. Stephanie White in her first team meeting was open about wanting to have her players show unity. We're going to need to block out the noise. We're going to need to be united throughout. But also, they want to win. Like Caitlin Clark, when I asked her point blank at Media Day, what does a successful season look like? She said, quote, a championship. And so like that really is the goal for them. And when they brought in all these players, the other thing that they were missing was playoff experience. And so that is why they brought in Howard, Bonner, and Colson, all of whom have won WNBA.
Meanwhile, real teammates, like the kind who don't let jealousy do wind sprints in their soul, would have been in there like WWE tag team reinforcements. Elbows out, voice raised, consequences be damned. But Natasha? She adjusted her ponytail, maybe blinked twice, that's it. Not even a courtesy jog toward the commotion, just premium apathy. Because Caitlin's not out here asking for a red carpet. Just maybe a little human decency. A single bounce pass wouldn't hurt. Some help when the defense decides to reenact a rugby scrimmage. But instead, she's playing on a team where certain players are more committed to their own silent protest than to actual winning basketball. And don't think the fans haven't noticed. Oh no, the internet has been filing receipts like accountants in tax season. Slow-mo clips, screenshots, play breakdowns. Every moment Natasha deliberately dodges Caitlin is being cataloged like it's part of a conspiracy documentary. If Netflix doesn't already have a producer on this, they're missing out.
All right, so as y'all can see, man, the Indiana Fever ended up announcing the status report for tonight's game versus Los Angeles. Caitlin Clark out left groin. Oh, man. Look, that groin is nothing to play with, man. If y'all didn't see how Anthony Davis was taken out this season, well, I guess last season, or whatever the case may be, it just appears out of nowhere, all right? The groin is nothing to play with, man. And, you know, it kind of explains a little bit more why her shot's been off. We can see that she's not 100%. Of course, with the sniffing and, you know, it look like she's out of breath.
And the locker room energy? Whew, it must be thicker than peanut butter in there. Imagine walking in knowing half your teammates would rather text their exes than pass you the rock. Caitlin's probably sitting at her locker wondering how she became the main character in a soap opera she never auditioned for. Just trying to hoop, and instead caught in the crossfire of passive-aggressive shade and barely veiled resentment. But hey, maybe Natasha's allergic to assists. The irony? All that energy spent ignoring her could have gone into winning, into building chemistry, into, I don't know, not looking like you're in a personal feud with your own teammate on live television? But instead, Natasha's playing hot potato with any opportunity to work with Caitlin. And the result? A team dynamic more dysfunctional than a reality show reunion episode. And every time she touches the ball, it becomes a suspense thriller. Will she finally pass to Caitlin? Spoiler, she won't. Not unless forced by gravitational pull or an act of Congress.
Absolutely crazy to me to see the types of fouls and the lack of calls that are having on them from these refs that the players are doing. They're just straight hacking each other. And like, we wouldn't even allow that like at our kids' games that we go to watch, let alone in the NBA. And it's just wild to me that you have somebody that took stadiums which only had like 7,000 people in them to attend live games to completely packed and tripling the ticket prices. And the way that you thank the player that is doing that is to like jab her in the eye and shove her when she's making shots and all kinds of stuff just because.
And even then, it'd come with a side eye and maybe a turnover. She'll do anything but admit Caitlin's presence makes her uncomfortable. Even if the whole basketball-watching world can see it like a neon sign blinking, "I'm not happy she's here." Because deep down, that's what it is. Not just dislike, not just cold competition, but that special flavor of envy that bubbles up when someone gets all the attention you think should have been yours. And Natasha's reaction? Let her get jumped. Let her be ignored. Let her figure it out solo. Because helping her, that would mean acknowledging her worth. And we all know that's the one stat Howard refuses to pay. Weird how Natasha Howard suddenly became a motivational speaker when asked about Caitlin Clark. Except, not really. No praise, no props, no she's a great teammate, no we're lucky to have her, not even a half-hearted she's figuring it out. Instead, we got the verbal equivalent of a shrug wrapped in a backhanded group therapy session. Caitlin doesn't have to do it all, we've got her back. Because every time she needs someone behind her, she's finding empty space, awkward silence, or teammates with the energy of do-it-yourself rookie.
Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. In that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. We've been trying to tell you. I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. I would have been loved to have been spoken about just for my play. But nobody ever let us do that. So what happened? We understood that in order to push our league forward, we were going to have to combat these things. And I think, again, I get sad when I talk about this a little bit in that we're still not talking about basketball.
Let's not pretend we didn't see the game against the Storm where Caitlin hit the hardwood like a dropped phone, only less protected. She's sprawled out, clearly in pain, and guess who's standing nearby like it's just another Tuesday? Natasha. She saw it, witnessed the fall, full 4K view, and her response? Turned around and sprinted like someone just yelled, "Die, you Bolé!" You would have thought Caitlin had slipped on a banana peel laced with awkward accountability. Just a quick pivot, and she was out of there faster than a dad at a One Direction concert. And the worst part is, this wasn't even surprising at this point. At all. This was just the next chapter in a painfully predictable saga of subtle snubs and carefully filtered support. Because what Natasha doesn't say about Caitlyn speaks louder than any highlight reel. When you have a teammate lighting up national TV, pulling crowds, selling jerseys, and dragging a franchise back into cultural relevance, and all you can muster is she doesn't have to do it all, that's not modesty, that's passive-aggressive poetry.
This is a public announcement. I need everybody to stop what they're doing and listen up. As we watch the WNBA every day because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA, I love the way they play the game, but we really watch it because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money.
Because Caitlyn does have to do it all. That's the gag. They say she shouldn't have to, and yet they make her. Every time she tries to lean on her team, she ends up flat on the floor or wide open at the arc with no pass in sight. Saying, "We've got her back," while watching her get clobbered like a piñata in a bad neighborhood isn't team spirit. It's delusion, wearing a jersey. And let's circle back to that fall. That moment in the Storm game wasn't just a missed opportunity to help. It was a personality test. A real one. The kind you don't study for. Because when someone hits the deck and you instinctively don't move, that's not in the zone. We're talking about the Caitlyn Clark. Rookie sensation, walking headline, offense generator, literal reason half the cameras are even at the game. You'd think at bare minimum, someone in her immediate vicinity would feel the urge to, pretend to care. Or fake it for the cameras even. But no. Natasha peeled off faster than someone avoiding eye contact with a Girl Scout selling cookies.
Caitlyn Clark had another, whatever you want to call it, confrontation in a WNBA game. Like, why is this happening? The Caitlyn Clark phenomenon is one that I got wrong. I never really thought that Caitlyn Clark would make the difference that she has in college basketball or in the WNBA. What other sports analogies are out there that are in any way similar to the impact that one individual has had on a larger sporting unit?
There's always a moment in a locker room when real ones show their colors. Some do it by riding for their team no matter what. Others do it by disappearing the second the cameras stop rolling and the bruises start forming. Caitlyn gets clobbered on the court, fouled like it's open season, shoved for daring to be good, and the locker room leaders, they're handing out generic motivational posters while ducking accountability. Caitlyn doesn't need to do it all? Okay, so why is she the one sprinting the floor, dishing out assists, drawing triple teams, and absorbing every flagrant foul like she's wearing a target instead of a uniform? Why is she the one people can't stop talking about, while her own teammates can't even pretend to give a damn? And the coldest part? This team had the chance to build something legendary.
Y'all want to talk about the WNBA and how the WNBA is relevant now?
They're not relevant. I don't give a shit about the WNBA.
Yeah.
That league sucks.
Well,
they still ain't making no money.
I'll tell you why they're relevant is because of this one white girl that just keeps flexing on all the black girls, man.
Yeah. White people love watching that.
Caitlyn Clark.
They had the PR power of a pop star joining a garage band, and instead of embracing it, they treated it like an invasion. Caitlyn came to elevate, and they responded by letting her fall, literally and metaphorically. Natasha didn't just run the other way when Caitlyn hit the floor. She's been doing it metaphorically since day 1A, when her teammates act like she's the guest star ruining their sitcom, even when the veterans treat her success like a group project they didn't sign up for. She keeps going while others keep showing their true selves, one awkward quote and cold shoulder at a time. Because when it mattered, when she needed support, when she needed backup, when she literally hit the ground, Natasha's contribution was turning into an extra in the background. And that tells you everything. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.